I'm about to open this package and culture this milk, but first, we need to talk about what this is. You may know of all the amazing benefits of raw milk, and you may even know about the incredible things that you can make at your own house with just raw milk, from butter, cheese, and an incredibly rich yogurt. But there's one thing I bet you and most other people miss, and that's homemade kefir. And yes, I said kefir and not kefir because it's actually pronounced kefir, like deer or beer, not kefir. And for those of you who might be asking, what is kefir? It's actually a very rich probiotic drink, sometimes compared to with yogurt, but it's vastly, vastly different. It's a lot of the time compared to with yogurt because the product that you buy from the store masks it to be a little bit more like yogurt. And if you're gonna make it at home, you're gonna expect the kefir that you would buy from the store. That's not what it is at all. They are probiotic deficient in comparison to the real thing that you can do at home. And inside of the package is kefir grains. This is the real thing. This is what we add to the milk in order to culture the milk and give us a probiotic-rich drink. All right, enough talking. Let's open up this package and show you what these grains look like. You can go straight to NW Ferments and order these off of their website, but I got them off of Azure through my order that we order once a month and have sent here. Inside of that box comes this little bag, and they are dehydrated grains. We have to rehydrate them in our milk in just a bit. Let's open them up and see what they look like though. That's it. They look a little bit different when they're alive and in the milk. This is them. Bacteria, yeast, rich environment, all in these grains. This is actually why they call them grains. They have no relation to grains. There's no grain in here at all. They're just called grains because when they're dried out, they look like grains. Now to get this whole process started, we actually have to wake these little guys up. That's honestly super easy. We're just gonna put them inside the jar. And then we're gonna fill up the jar with fresh, raw cow's milk from our cow today with half a cup. And that's it. This is all we need to do. Those grains are gonna wake up, come to life, start eating, and then start reproducing. And they're gonna reproduce like crazy. And then from there, we'll be able to go and ferment something as large as this, if that's what we wanted to do, but most of the time, we're not gonna go that large. Well, we're just gonna get this thing covered up and wait 12 hours. And you'll see the difference in the morning and see the change it makes to the milk. And hopefully this first one in 12 hours is going to be good enough to really start everything. If not, it will be 24 hours. And after 24 hours, we'll strain this, take out the grains that are in here. They're gonna look a lot different. And then we will refeed it new milk. If you are familiar at all with sourdough or a sourdough starter, it's identical to that. The thing is that you can actually see the culture in here. You get to see what's working on the inside, and it is those grains. And you get to see those grains reproduce. You can collect them and repopulate another jar. You can sell them. You can dehydrate them yourselves, which I'm gonna do this next time because this isn't our first batch, but I didn't dehydrate my first ones. So there's just so much that you can do with it. And to make it really familiar to any of you out there, it's just like sourdough. And if you own goats, you could do the same thing with your goats. And they're not picky about the type of milk they get. It could be raw milk, it could be store-bought milk, 2% milk, just need milk, and you can keep them alive. We're now going to get these into a dark place, let them ferment overnight, and I'll see you in the morning. All right, here we are. It's been 12 hours, and the kefir is still very runny. We need to wait another 12 hours to make sure that this thickens up and is a lot creamier in appearance, and it's just gonna end up way thicker. So let's come back in another 12 hours and see if there's any significant changes. And from there, we will refeed it and wait until we see some changes. So see you soon. I just got back from milking, and there's something that I was reminded that I wanted to share with you. Last night, it got down to about 12 degrees. Today, right now, it's about 20 degrees, and my house is set to 65. And the best thing for fermentation is a little bit warmer temperatures, about 68 to 78 for kefir. And well, my house just isn't that warm right now. So I put it on top of a heat plate so that it gets a consistent warm temperature. And that's what I did to jumpstart the fermentation. I can really tell that something's going on in here. It smells like cereal milk. I think that's a good way to describe it. Yeah. I just wish you could smell it. But it smells like cereal milk, which gives me the indication that things are working. But we can't just leave it in here because we need to give it more food to eat, which is more new milk. But we need to separate those grains so that we can put them in our new batch of milk. So this is the only strainer I have right now that I could find. So here we go. Oh. Now, if you look at these grains, they actually look a lot more hydrated. They're softer and gushier, but they have also started to curdle some of that cream. You can see the white part right here. Well, I have a good feeling that this is now going to be ready in the morning, if not tomorrow night. But I'm not going to make you sit through here and see the process as nothing happened. So I'll see you shortly when this finally cultures and we get fresh kefir at home. It's now been 36 hours, and you can see I actually put more milk inside of here. And that's because I noticed, you wouldn't have been able to tell on screen, but it was getting slightly thicker. So instead of just showing that, I upped the amount of milk, I refed it, and we now have some significant change that I can finally show you. And that means that our kefir grains are alive and active. It smells a little bit like a sugary cereal drink, kind of. It's kind of the only way I can really describe how it smells. But we're gonna see a big difference in what it looks like right now. So let's just look at this. It's not sloshing around like regular milk would. It's the texture of almost yogurt. Let me pour it out. Actually strain it so that we can still get our grains pretty easily. And then look at that. Now, technically, I think this is overdone. For a lot of kefir, this is still perfect. We're gonna actually use this in future videos using something like this book, Natural Cheese Making, where everything in this book is done, most of it is cultured from kefir. So that's our plan as we go into the future, making cheese and yogurt, not from those little packets that you get from the store, but everything done from kefir. So when it's chunky like this should be fine to be able to culture the milk, or culture the milk for the cheeses. But when it comes to a drink, you kind of want it as a drink, not as a yogurt like this. But I'm gonna take these grains out and show you what they look like once they're fully hydrated and regular looking kefir grains. All right, here we are. And the strainer makes more sense when we're pouring it out and it looks more like milk. When it's a milk texture, that's kind of where we want to drink it at. This right here can be used, but like I said before, it's gonna be more for culturing yogurts. As we sift through this, we're gonna find the grains. And the grains look a little bit different than they did before. Before they were more yellowish color and they were a lot harder, looking a little bit more like grains. And now it almost looks like, I don't know, a cottage cheese ball. And it has a different type of texture. The texture is more spongy, like a hard but rubbery little ball. And that's where we can be positive that these are the kefir grains and not just, some of the yogurt. And this is what it means for them to repopulate. They just grow, and I could split this in half, put this in another jar, dehydrate these, or sell them. These are the kefir grains. Let's get some more. And we're just going to search through just like this, and we'll find them. And this is the start of one too. So not everyone's going to be big and, easy to spot. This one could look like a little bit of cheese, but as you get more familiar with what the kefir grains look like, you'll be able to tell, all right, that's puffy. The texture is a little bit spongy or a tiny bit like a gummy bear. That's a kefir grain. We're just going to put it off to the side and keep looking. I can stop looking right now and just keep them in there. Keep them in this strainer in order to eat, but we're going to collect as much as we can, because the larger batch that you have, the larger amount that you have, the quicker a ferment will happen, or a larger ferment that you can do. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you're following and subscribing, because we are going to use the book, The Art of Natural Cheese Making. I'm going to use that to really focus in on culturing all of my cheeses, all of my yogurts. I no longer want to go to the store and buy the packages of the lab-grown cultures that are mesophilic or thermophilic. I can get all of that, all of the good bacteria that's meant for most of those cheeses, just out of the kefir grains and culturing the milk in this way. So make sure you're following along to see how this works. I'm so curious to see what cheese making is like with kefir. That's actually why I brought it on to our farm and into our house, and I'm excited to share the experience with you guys. See you next time.